Thanks for staying with us. Back to our Thursday matters. You know, we like to discuss family, love, relationships on Thursdays. Anyway, in the last few days, social media has been buzzing. All sorts of somebody is cheating on me, somebody is sleeping with somebody is getting pregnant for somebody, all sorts. But in all of that, one question is worth discussing. Men and infidelity. Should I say rich men and infidelity? Does their wealth give them some kind of power? You know, does their success give them some kind of reason to think it's okay to cheat? We've had the issue of Davido, who we all love the story. You know, we used to be what's that his wife? Chiama's aunties. They used to call us Chiama's aunties. When we used to support, well, actually, I was called Chiama's auntie, because I was advocating for Chiama in the early days when she hadn't even had a child at the time. But
the assurance days.
The assurance days. We used to advocate for Chiama so much. And finally, when they got married, many of us were excited and happy. Sadly, she lost her son just about a year ago. And now we are being told that Davido has a possible baby mama. In fact, the baby mama herself came out to say, I am pregnant by this man who just lost a son. Now, listen, you can look at this from different angles. She could be lying, this could be a social media thing, it could be true, we're not even sure. But the question is, how does a man, especially a man like that, cheat? Or how do we explain this cheating of men who are successful, who should know better, especially when you have a situation, as Chema did, with losing a child? What exactly was going through the mind, and how do we help men in this situation to be faithful? Some say, were you there when he was making his money? Why are you now worrying about how he spends it, or who he spends it with, or who he spends it for? Now, why are we all now worried about it? What are your thoughts on this? And then we're going to link it up to another story. We won't mention the person because we love the person so much. No,
if you mention
another story that is brewing, we are praying and fasting that it is a lie, because by God's special grace and mercy, this story must be a lie. But hitherto, it is.
I mentioned one, you mentioned the other.
We are just praying that if it does, God forbid, like there's a 0.00% chance it's true. How did that happen? And how can we stop it? For those of you who know, you know. And I won't mention it, but if you know, you know.
That's partiality.
You
mentioned it too.
We will not mention that person's name.
You have mentioned one already now.
Yeah, that's Davido now. Davido is a...
You
can't mention that. That obviously, please, let us sacredly keep that name.
Let's keep them secret.
Let's keep them secret for now. But what are your thoughts on this whole infidelity matter?
When it comes to successful men, celebrities, people who are in the limelight, I just feel that a little more discretion can be added. So even though you are a man who's not in the public eye, but you have some money, I know that there's this natural, would I call it natural now, or the idea that you would want variety because you feel you can afford to have different things. You hear them say, I've been eating egusi soup for how many years now? I want to try ogbonna, I want to try white soup, I want to try pepper soup, I want to try edikaiko, you know, because I can afford it. And they do it with the explanation that I love my wife. In fact, I love her. In fact, when you disrespect, when you talk about her, I'll just sideline you. I love her, but I have to do other things, you know. But when it comes to people who are in the limelight, and I also want to relate it in such a way that we may begin to understand that these people, this particular person we're talking about, had money very early. Like he was not, he had not suffered some kind of suffer when he met his money. He was born into money, and then he blew again and started making his own money. And so, so blew on top of the one that his father had blown.
Loaded and exploded.
And then that will also affect his psyche, where he just thinks more about, once I settle you, we're good. I'm okay. You're not lacking anything. So just sit there and do your thing. This is what is expected. I'm a star. I travel. I should be able to have people around me who will massage my leg, who will rub my back. You know, you should understand that it comes with the terrain. I've seen celebrities who sort of had stronger suffer foundation. So we don't like suffer, but somehow there's a way it helps reboot your brain. And then you get into that wealth and you know what matters. You know how to preserve your home. You're very conscious because of the kind of life you've seen or you've experienced around you. You know what you want.
Right.
And I see that their lives are better than those little boys who, you know, they hit it immediately and then they are soaring. It takes the grace of God, or maybe they have a strong manager holding them for them to reorganize themselves. But this is, I feel he's a bit, he should apply discretion. I feel he's a bit too callous in the way he's going about it. There's a lot of disrespect thrown at the person he had chosen to spend his life with. And I think we should call him out on this. You cannot afford to have a babe in every state that you go to. You are married.
Now, we're going to talk about Chioma in a moment, but not now, because if she was, I think I've asked this question before, like, if she was your sister, how would you advise her to handle the situation? But we'll talk about it a bit later. But what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thought is, this is not a Davido problem or a Nigerian problem. It's a problem that we have seen play out in many ways. Entertainers, footballers, athletes, people who are celebrated, just by showing up. The adulation is high, the praise and the worship. You're surrounded by yes men. Everybody just wants to do everything that pleases you. And it's also a false reality because, as we know, with celebrity status especially, sometimes you're there 10 years, if you're lucky, 20 years, but eventually it starts to wane, and then you now realize exactly what's important and what is not. But I would say that I think it's much more difficult for young boys who are beginning to find themselves, and then they have this money and this love. It is a tough one. And I usually wonder for the women that are associated with them or attach themselves to these people, if they understand the risk and the burden that they are about to take. I think that the women need to understand, need to know exactly the reality of it, the sort of challenges that they would be facing if they were with someone in that situation. It takes someone who is quite deliberate to not fall into the trap of just wanting everything and having everything because they can. The story is just sad because we know that there's supposed to be a marriage, there's supposed to be a love story. But if it was someone who had put up himself as just a single guy, I'm making my money, I'm all around the world, I'm enjoying we may just say, oh, entertainment behavior. But we have a story that we're all held on to, the assurance story, the love story. It does not matter how well-known or how famous he is. He decided, and quite early, that he wanted to settle down with that person. It was a good story, but then, as you can see, reality is playing out. I know we're not talking about her just yet, but I was wondering if she ever thought about the work that it would take to be with someone like that.
Let me come to you, Tokwe, your initial thoughts on this, because there's a question that is ringing in my head, that can a man who has cheated on his wife still really love her?
Okay, so let me attempt to answer that question. They say a leopard really changes his spots. Especially when this leopard is shown you the spots several times. So it's not just a one-off thing. It's been a consistent thing. There would be it would be multiple things that would make people change. I'm an advocate that people change. Personally, I feel like if you determine that I want to become a different person, you can take that journey. It's going to cost you a whole lot, but you can. But we're not sure if this particular leopard is ready to change his spots. Or back to the original story. My initial thought when I saw Davido being dragged again on accusation that he has impregnated another girl. And when I saw it, I said, not again, Davido, not again. Why? When there's a story by this perfumer, he wrote it, he said, when you have platform, when your seed is precious, you will not throw it everywhere. So seed being his seed, you won't throw your seeds everywhere. Many women want to have a child for Davido. They want to have a child for this star, this celebrity, this superhuman, this extra talented person. Many women want to, So knowing that, if you know what you carry, then you will not allow yourself become the one who will now be having children from every kind of person that you have intimate relationships with. What is the place of protection, Davido? Like, I don't understand. Why would you not use protection? Why would you not hold yourself, even if you cannot control yourself, at least you will protect the one you claim you love, that you sank assurance for. On his post, he put a picture of himself and Chioma and said, our love is timeless. Several times he has dedicated and spoken up that this relationship I have with Chioma, this is my right hand. He has posted it over and over again. So if you really love that person that much, if you care so much about that person, then for me, you should, even if you cannot control yourself from cheating, protect that
Your
person
seed.
that you love. Protect your seed from having children from any kind of person. Now, and the girl, because the girl got backlash from Nigerians, the girl came out and was showing evidence to say, Davido was asking her to use the pill. Take responsibility for what you want your future to hold. You don't want this kind of embarrassment, which is what he also replied, that he doesn't need this now. But you didn't take responsibility. You're expecting her to protect you from having a child outside. Why? We need to discuss this thing. A lot of celebrity men have faced with women throwing themselves. Some are performing. Right, you will see girls wearing next to nothing, jump on the stage, rubbing everything. Someone threw her bra to Burna Boy on the stage. So it is tough to be a celebrity and be faithful. It is a really tough spot to be in. I don't know who has done it. Maybe if somebody has done it, they can tell us how they have been able to do it and create a template for other celebrities. So we know they are vulnerable. But even in that vulnerability, you will protect who you care about, especially when you have been public with the fact that you care about her.